Hold up, before you get to watching this video, let me talk to you for a second. Hit that bell down below and subscribe to the Fitz Take Podcast YouTube channel so you'll know when every episode is dropping or if something has been posted on this page. Also, be sure to follow me and Elijah on our social media platforms. They will be linked down in the description. Now back to the episode.
Matchup between the Alabama Crimson Tide and South Carolina. I really felt like that whole day, the ABC games, the KATC games, shameless plug, were really, really good. You had the South Carolina Alabama game, you had the Red River rivalry, and then you had LSU Ole Miss to close out the night. But to open the day, Alabama escapes another upset and another scare by beating South Carolina 27-25. Um, I watched a decent portion of this game. Elijah, I know you said you kind of dabbled in it. I'll let you have the floor first. Is this Alabama team, as quality enough to really try to squeeze their way into the playoffs? I know South Carolina is a good defensive team. They have a great defensive front. Obviously, we saw that when they played against LSU and they gave them problems. Is this just a sign of you got to tip your cap to a really good South Carolina team, or is there trouble in paradise there in Alabama?
There's gonna be some trouble, some trouble, some trouble, bro. Alabama's in trouble, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now. We forget early in the season they struggled against South Florida because they came out in the second half and beat them. We're not gonna say that we overlooked that game against Georgia, where we talked about if they took the foot off the pedal or Georgia turned up another notch in the second half, which I believe Georgia turned up another second notch in the second half. We're not going to ignore the fact that they lost to Vanderbilt. Now, forgive me, Vanderbilt gave Kentucky a game, but it's Vanderbilt. Alabama, Vanderbilt. A big difference. Then they struggle against South Carolina. South Carolina is a pretty decent team. Do I think they're one of the best in the SEC? No. Do I think they're mid-tier in the SEC? Absolutely. So now, I think what the true colors is showing that Alabama is not as talented as it was in the past, as they were in the past, because Alabama looked strong at some points, but they look bad at some points. Back in the day with Alabama, they looked strong for 4 quarters. This Alabama team, they look good for 5 minutes in the first quarter, bad for 8 minutes in the second quarter, good for 10 minutes in the third quarter, and then bad for the last whatever minutes in the fourth. Like that, and I get it. You will say a win is a win, but a win is a win till you're not winning anymore. And then when you play those big teams, next week you got Tennessee, right? And then you got LSU. I think Alabama could mess around and not make the college football playoff.
Mm.
I may be going on a limb here, but I think that they could mess around and not go. If they don't beat Tennessee next week and they don't beat LSU the following week,
No, they got Tennessee. Then they got Missouri and that boy Luther Burden and Brady Cook. Then they got LSU. They in a gauntlet right now, bro.
So that's 3.
They really finna beat, bro. The last from Georgia down, they've been in a blender. Georgia, they lose to Vandy. They almost lose to South Carolina. They got a top 15 matchup at Tennessee. At Tennessee. And then you come back home against Missouri, who's 5-1, who of course they got shellacked by Texas A&M, excuse me. And then you go back on the road to Death Valley to face LSU. Then you get a little layoff with Mercer, and you close out the year with Oklahoma and Auburn. So they are in a blender right now, and pressure buffs makes diamonds or it busts pipes, bro. So we're gonna see if this is a diamond in the rough, or we're gonna see if this team will fold under pressure. Jalen Milroe has still played extremely well. That can't go unnoticed. Ryan Williams has still played extremely well, as we've seen. That freshman is so talented in what he does. But they've got to figure it out. They've got to for sure figure it out because, South Carolina, they put some stuff out there on tape that teams are going to come right out and try to exploit right away. It's very similar to, after the Cajuns played against Tulane and, the Green Wave rushed for like 200 and some yards. And, Coach Dez was saying like, that's on tape now. Teams are going to come out and try to run the football against us. That's true. If, a team feels like that they can get pressure on you with a TT twist or a TE twist or ET twist, or they can bring an edge guy, or they can walk somebody down, they can disguise a blitz, they're going to come out and do it. Whatever it is that South Carolina did, whatever it is that Vanderbilt did, teams are going to start mimicking that. Now, of course, Tennessee does what they do. And then, not to mention, these 3 games that they're playing against all high-powered offenses, all of them. Tennessee, the run and shoot. Missouri with Brady Cook and Luther Burden. LSU, we just talked about what them boys are, even though they had an off night against Ole Miss. We know what them boys are. And if they healthy going into that game, we know what them boys are. Man, you got to get it fixed, Caleb DeBoer. You might need to have a come to Jesus meeting with Nick Saban and figure out, hey man, I know you coached in some tough series of games. What I need to do here, because your next 3 games, bro, you got to play teams with the same record as you, 5-1. These are pivotal games because, like I said, if you beat Tennessee, you knock them out of the top 15. If you beat Missouri, you probably closely knocked them out of the top 25. If you beat LSU, you knocked them out of the top 10. But if you lose, you might fall down into them lower teens, bro. And that can mess you up. And then if you lose another one, that's a wrap. 3 losses, you're not getting in. 2 losses, you gotta pray to the football gods that you can squeeze your way in there, or somebody else loses. That's the only way, because there's no SEC East and West anymore. It's the best 2 teams with the best conference record, and right now you got one. You're not getting to the SEC championship game with 2 conference losses, so you got to see what you're made of. Might be like you said, like Dollar Bill said in Players Club, man. It might be some trouble. It might be some trouble. We shall see what the Crimson Tide are able to do when they go to Neyland Stadium for the 2:30 kick, in a highly anticipated matchup next Saturday. That game will be on KTC.
Thank you so much for watching this clip of the Fitz Take podcast. Be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also follow me and Elijah on our social media platforms. They will be linked down in the description. And remember, every episode of the Fitz Take podcast will air right here on the YouTube channel every Monday at 2 p.m. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.